You might have heard that Orlando doesn't have a lot to offer when it comes to food. As a chef and an avid traveler, I beg to differ. So we're at Osprey Tavern, and I'm very excited to be here because this is not the only restaurant you guys have.
That's one of three.
There's also one across the street, and Sato. Oh,
You'll get it one day.
I will get it one day. I will get it one day. So we should get into the food.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us what we have in front of us?
Yeah, sure. One of the crowd favorites we have is pork belly, because who doesn't love pork? Well, I know you don't love pork belly.
Yes, but that's okay.
Everybody else
still
does.
like it. Yeah.
So this is pork belly with a compressed melon. This is from our raw bar offerings. This is the shrimp remoulade. We have a celery root remoulade, some pickled fennel, and some mint. And the mint really kind of just does that. I love the mint on there.
Beautiful.
I think it's a really underutilized herb. This is our local barrel fish from the Florida waters with a little bit of harissa and some green French lentils. Also from our raw bar offerings, we have our scalloped crudo with Zelwood corn, a little bit of raw zucchini, which is really something that you don't really see a lot of, but it adds this really wonderful texture and flavor that you don't really get from cooked zucchini. That's really outstanding. And then our burrata and stone fruit salad with charred peaches, local Agostini burrata, and some plum coulis. And that's one of my favorite dishes on there now with the spiced pecans. That's so good.
It looks like it has all the different elements. You have crunch, and you have
There's things that we enjoy to eat, but we always try to keep in mind that we're not just cooking for our own palate, but just to keep things exciting and stuff. And it's like North African flavors, Mediterranean flavors, all these things you'll find. Well, little splashes and dashes here on the menu, and those are all things. Sometimes I'm totally unfamiliar with it, and I'll ask Chef, I'm like, what's harissa? What's it taste like? And they'll explain it, and it just you have it, and it works. It really works. We use a lot of inspiration from all over Asia, Southeast Asia, Korea, Thai, and it's just we use kind of Japanese as kind of like the foundational kind of ethos of the cuisine, like obsessive about technique and sourcing ingredients, stuff like that. But as far as the palate and the flavor profile, we kind of go all over the map in terms of Asia.
New Asian.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Asian.
We actually we call it New Japanese.
New
I think
Japanese.
Jade says New Asian, and that's I think it's kind of a newish classification, but I think it works.
Yeah.
I mean, why can't something be called New Asian if there's New American?
Yeah.
I think that you guys are creating your own new
Our little genre.
That's a beautiful
Sub-genre.
thing.
Yeah.
So, Foodie Forum. Tell us about the Foodie Forum. How did you start this, and what is it?
It's just a group on Facebook where we talk about food all day, and the major thing is just sharing about news about food around town.
It does keep me company during the day. It's like, oh, there are other people that care this much about food. It's so wonderful.
It's the ultimate work distraction. I'm like, I get deep in there too. I'm like scrolling and scrolling.
You really
and scrolling.
could scroll all day,
Yeah.
but it's such wonderful stuff. And you said it's more positive than some of the other stuff that you might
On
see.
Facebook.
Exactly. So the reason that we're all here essentially is because of what Zimmerman said about Orlando. But it's as a restaurateur, how did you take that?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of hurt a little bit. I heard it was mixed. It was mixed emotions, but then it made you kind of like zealous. It kind of fired up your zeal to be like, well, we got to show them like what we're all about. It made you want to do more and help kind of put Orlando on the map.
Dave,
Kind of tired of living in the shadow of the mouse,
I think it just hurts because he's not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people think about Orlando as, oh, it's just that. But I think the whole point is we want to show that there's so much more.
There's so much love that goes into preparing these dishes and kind of curating the experience for our local guests. That when a big personality like that just kind of does one brush stroke and says all of Orlando sucks. That was kind of the painful thing. And I think with the power and the strength of local restaurants is we don't have to deal with like the volume, the thousands and thousands of people that come in. So that allows us to really prepare and execute our food with such care. And
that means a lot. I feel like you guys are like one of the biggest restaurateurs in Orlando. It depends on how we want to look at it, but I think I'm happy with what Andrew Zimmerman said. Because it's got
Attention.
It's got attention. It's got us discussing this and talking about it and really realizing all the wonderful things we can do here.
10 years ago, we had lots of chains. Obviously, there were a couple local great ones, but past 10 years, it's been an explosion of more local, great chef-driven restaurants, and even like your traditional like say Vietnamese or Japanese places. They're almost another generation has come up, of more modern style cuisines. So I really think that Orlando can compete with the best of them out there.
I think it's true.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do you think it is now, and where do you think it's going?
Man, the growth of list of independent places and all these well qualified chefs in town, I don't know, the sky's the limit really.
And one thing that is kind of like the great equalizer is, the palate of the community and what they're willing to accept and to support. And I feel like that's kind of, I don't want to say a challenge, but that's kind of where we are. I think in a way, the talent that we have kind of overpowers what people are used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we'll see is a lot of places kind of opening and starting off with a splash and then kind of dialing back, or unfortunately some places will be closing and opening, but I think that's just the nature of it. But I think overall it's a really strong forward trajectory.
So do you feel like you guys have come up with all these different concepts because the people need or want it, or because you guys want to try something new?
It's a little bit of both, yeah. I think a lot of it is us wanting to do it and see if it would work. It's been a great journey, and I don't think if we do another project in the future, it won't be anything else we've done before. It'll be something unique to us and unique to the area. That's kind of what we strive to do, even though we've gotten our 3 concepts figured out and dialed in.
It would be easy to just make another one.
Yeah, the smart thing to do would be to open up another Sado or another Reyes or another Osprey somewhere.
Something more, right?
It wouldn't be as exciting as venturing off into some new cuisine or a new style of service or just something totally new to the area. That's kind of our commitment to our city is keep it going, keep it going, build the diversity, because that's what makes it interesting.
So you actually saw the tweet on Twitter?
Someone tweeted at me like, hey, there was a journalist looking for places to eat here. They're here actually for an investigative journalism conference, and
Interesting.
so they're looking for places to eat. And then I tried to give some advice, and then all of a sudden Andrew Zimmons pops in and is like, those only places is 3 Rivers and Rat Pig for barbecue.
Mm-hmm. It's like, no, there's so much more.
So I was like, maybe 10 years ago, but now we have many more.
You were nice, and a lot of people were nice, and they said,
even the mayor
try
chimed
this,
in. He was like,
try this, try this, try
Yeah.
this. It's not,
It's like-
we hate you, it's try
Yeah.
these places because you obviously haven't experienced them.
People piled on to
Yeah, that's true. And it's not, we're not mad at him. It's starting this conversation about what there is to eat here, which I think is important.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm ready
mean-
for you. Come. I'm ready.
Come on, man.
Exactly. Well, the cool thing is he has come, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
Because I know the place that he's gone to, like, he'll have to come back.
Oh, it's just a little taste.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a little taste. I mean, he hit up some great spots, but
There's so much more.
It's just
So
tip
much
the
more.
iceberg.
Exactly.
We'll continue to grow. There'll be new spots. I think the bigger mission here is for all of us to be able to kind of teach the public and for them to embrace that, and for more just individuals that aren't bloggers or people who are engaged in the media, who are like foodies and who write about it and stuff, to be advocates. I think that's why places like New Orleans and Austin and Washington D.C. and those places are on the map. It's not just the personalities and the public figures. It's everybody go out and they just brag about their food scene. I think that's where we're headed though. You see, and what the foodie forums now is like over 8,000 members.
8,000 members.
And I think I've been a part of it for just a few years. And back when I first started, it was like 3,000. Yeah.
200.
Yeah. And now it's like over 8,000. So you see, people are interested. People are looking. There's only so much that chefs and restaurateurs can do. It's up to the dining public to pick up on it, to embrace it, to celebrate it, and to echo that out into the world, so that people like Zimmer, they have no choice but to hear it, because people are just talking about it and they're not shutting up about it. That's where I think we need to head, and I think that's where we're heading. So that's a great thing for all of us.
It's a great thing.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yes. Eat this!